All right, well, go ahead and get started. My name is Tanya Sands. I know a lot of you that are on here today. And we just want to welcome you from Roseborough Travel. We just want to welcome you to our Q&A and our Zoom call with Collette, with our representative Calvin Johnson. And he's going to tell you all about the itinerary, the trip, the pricing, all the good stuff you want to know. So take it away, Calvin.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. As she said, my name's Calvin Johnson, and I am excited to work along with you, Tanya, and Roseborough Travel. So thank you very much for just allowing me the time to represent Collette this afternoon. And today I'm going to be spending a few minutes over really Collette, who we are, our style of travel as a whole. And then I will take a moment to highlight one of the most exciting tours that Collette has to offer. So, many of you guys, maybe, but a lot of people have heard of Collette. And if it's not ringing a bell, maybe you have heard from us. By Wheel of Fortune. Wheel of Fortune is usually oh, that's where I've heard of Collette, or maybe the Hallmark Channel, where we've done some campaigns during the holiday season, or our great partnership with AARP as well. But we have been around for 108 years, and so we are one of the oldest tour operators in the United States. And we're a third generation family owned travel company based in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. And we're also a debt free company. And so I share all these stats with you because travelers love Collette for our integrity and how we treat our travelers. And all of that because we are built to support our travelers, our employees, and also communities all around, no matter what. And so that's why a lot of people enjoy traveling with Collette. Roseborough, people like Roseborough and Tanya love to work with Collette because of those stats. And so our team is comprised of curious travelers just like yourselves. So they're going to create trips that they'd want to go on themselves or maybe even send a good friend on. And so you're going to get the must-sees, but also you're going to get maybe access to experiences that you'd be a little more hard-pressed to experience on your own. And so this is what we provide in Collette's premium experience. And so I'll be touching on the hometown pickup and travel protection at the end as we get through today's presentation. But one thing, our main goal and one thing we strive for is to make travel as seamless as possible for all of our guests. So we want to go across the pond and have days filled with learning about the history, intermingling with the culture, trying the foods along the way and seeing all the beautiful sights, but doing all of those things without the stress of logistics. So, all the transportation, the accommodations, several of the meals along the way, they've been curated to give us balance. And so, balance is something that we also consider in our design. So, we don't want to go 24/7, but we also do want to make the most of our time and most of our days because we're typically only traveling a couple weeks at a time. So most all of our itineraries, especially here with Greece Island Hopper that we're going to get into in a second, we're going to have pockets of free time. And this is where along the way it gives us the opportunity really to decide, am I going to go shopping? Or maybe am I going to go sightseeing or check out the local cafes or whatever you please to do. We have that balance of guided experiences, but also those pockets of free time. Now, one person you are going to meet on tour is your tour manager. And so our tour managers, they are locally based, so they add great local, historical, that cultural context along the way. And they're also a great friend to have, a great friend that you're going to make, but a great resource to have on the ground. Because as I just mentioned, those pockets of free time, they help you make the most of your time along the way as well. And maybe some of you also keep you out of trouble, depending on the type of traveler you are. But they do add a massive, I guess, difference to the tour, and they will be there with you from beginning to end. Now, today we are going to highlight Greece, and that's what we're talking about. But I do want to share where all we go. We have over 170 different tours across 7 continents continents, all seven continents, and we feature five distinct travel styles. So, I like to say if you are a first-time traveler or if you are a seasoned traveler, chances are we have an itinerary that fits best for you. So I share this because when we get back from Greece and you experience Colette's premium experience and you're like, man, that was amazing. Think about Collette again because chances are your next destination, we have a great fit for you. So, that being said, the tour we will be highlighting today is Greece Island Hopper. So, over 11 sun soaked days, we're going to explore iconic highlights like Athens, Mykonos, and Santorini. So, this is the tour at a glance right here. And day one, let me actually go back just a second here. So these dots on the screen are how many nights we are staying in each location. And so day one is going to be an overnight flight into Athens, and this is something where we do have the group set up to fly out of Orlando. However, we can fly anywhere. So people from Orlando, we can expect roughly 13 hours of total travel time. For those maybe in Atlanta, if we can get that direct flight over to Athens based on scheduling, we may be looking at that 12, 11 and a half, 12-hour time frame of travel time. But from Orlando, we're going to expect one connection, maybe in Atlanta, depending on the airlines and scheduling, maybe Newark or maybe Philly, just depending. So we can expect one connection from Orlando, but the tour, as you see, we begin in Athens. And so we are going to spend 2 nights in Athens right there before we take a ferry over to Mykonos. And this is going to be our home for 3 nights in Mykonos. And then we'll continue the tour with 3 nights in Santorini before flying back to Athens, where we will stay 1 night to conclude our tour and then fly home the following day. Then that flight from Santorini up to Athens, it's about 45 minutes, maybe an hour, just depending on the timing of everything there. So that's something that you can expect, and that's the tour at a glance. Now, I mentioned just a second ago, we have five distinct travel styles. This tour falls in the travel style of classic. This is our most popular style of travel, and this is ideal for people, seeing the world's iconic destinations. And we're going to hit all the highlights at a value-minded price. Maybe the preferred access to sites, and that means we're going to skip the line to bigger places and we're going to spend more time discovering. So this is something you can also keep in mind as far as the average group size is going to be about 35, 37 travelers on this tour. Now, Collette, we label all of our itineraries with an activity level. So one being the most leisure, four being the most strenuous, if you will, most extreme. And this one lands on a level 3. So what that means is if you are a level 3 type of traveler, that means you don't want to miss a thing. You are on the go. You're ready to go conquer the world. Not literally, but you know what I mean. Go see all these amazing sights and really dive into the culture along the way. But walking, standing, maybe a little longer periods of times isn't a big deal for you. Or maybe going on moderately paced tours isn't a big deal for you. But keep in mind, Greece and Europe over there, they have cobblestone streets, they have uneven surfaces, and so that is something to keep in mind that should not be a problem for you, and we keep in mind in our activity level. So one thing I do want to mention, and I'll mention it a couple more times as I get down into the day to day, but when we are going on the ferries and we're boarding and disembarking, travelers will handle their own luggage, and so it's approximately about 200 feet that during the ferry terminals and all of that, that we will need to carry our own luggage. So that is not normal. However, just this itinerary does call that out, being able to do that. Also, there are going to be places I mentioned, uneven steps, uneven stone paths as we go through some really beautiful, iconic sites. So if you have any questions about the activity level at the end, please let me know. Even beyond today, you can talk with Tanya. We can make sure all of your maybe concerns or expectations are set accordingly before we get on tour. Now, a little bit, know before you go, the time zone, we are 7 hours ahead of the Eastern Standard Time. The currency is the euro. However, credit cards are widely accepted as well. And weather, you can expect that sunshine. We're going to get a lot of sun rays along the way, but in May is when we are going. We're going to expect temps, low of 60s, maybe high of 80s is what the temperature is going to look like. Now, we have a website I'm going to show you at the end that you can get all the tips, the know before you go, everything that I'm sharing here. But also packing, we're going to want to keep in mind maybe bringing good walking shoes, maybe a day bag, layers for cooler nights just in case. But also, we're going to be entering some religious sites, and so just to make sure we're culturally and spiritually entwined with their culture, we may need some scarves when we're entering religious sites. So like I said, we can get you that information if we get to that point, but we can provide that at the end as well. So now that the essentials are covered, I want to welcome you to the Greece Island Hopper. And you can imagine this as your gateway to island living, ancient history, and truly a Mediterranean charm. And so this is where we are going to dive in. As I mentioned, day one is an overnight flight into Athens. And so day two is really where the journey begins. And so it's a city that boasts modern energy, yet rests atop layers of ancient civilization. So this is going to be an amazing time. Do keep in mind our arrival times will vary based on the timing we get there. So there are no scheduled sightseeing activities on this day. So depending on when you arrive into Athens, you'll have some of the day free to explore on your own. And then tonight on day two, we will come together for a welcome dinner. And this is where we'll sample Greek classics and we'll get to know our fellow travelers as the whole group together. Kind of a welcome dinner and a start to this journey. Now, on day three, we'll dive headfirst into the rich history of Athens with a city tour. Now, this is where we will pass by the Temple of Zeus, we'll admire the Parliament, and we'll take in views of the Olympic Stadium as well. And that's where the first modern games were held, and we'll get to take all that in. But the real highlight is the legendary Acropolis, crowned by the iconic Parthenon. And this is the spiritual heart of ancient Greece. And so you can imagine this was built in the 5th century BC. So the history is just amazing that we are going to learn. And it's a symbol of Western civilization. Built nearly 2,500 years ago, this temple is still inspiring and just amazing awe in its sheer scale everywhere. So later in the afternoon of day three, we will have the afternoon and evening to our own leisure to explore as well. Now, day four is where we are going to trade in the mainland history for the island living. So we'll board a public high-speed ferry to Mykonos. And it's an important local experience that truly gives you that true feel for Greek island life. And so this is where I mentioned, when we're joining or boarding, getting onto the ferry, we're going to need to carry our own luggage about 200 feet onto the ferry. So just keep that in mind. Of course, you have your tour manager that will guide you through it all, but I do want to make sure that is very clear. And then after the ferry, on day four, this is where we are welcomed into Mykonos. And so this is where cobbled streets, beach bars, it sets the scene for a few unforgettable days. So we'll explore Kora, is the old town, and it's got the winding lanes and the iconic windmills that we will get to experience. And then we'll have some time to wander and really get your bearings before we check into the hotel. And then from here, the island is yours. So whether you are drawn to seaside cafes or if you just want to, watch the sunset over the sea, Mykonos, this island delivers that for you. Now, here is where we are going to enjoy our 3 night stay at San Marco Hotel. So, this beautiful property is made up of individual buildings, each with its own design and character. And it's also built with those, whitewashed walls and the blue shutters. And it is just beautiful. But the rooms are spacious and modern, and it's very much in a peaceful setting. So, that's going to be our accommodation there in Mykonos. Now, moving on to day 5, this is, the day is ours. It is our own to explore Mykonos at our own pace. So we can sleep in, we can stroll the beach, do some independent exploring, maybe, walk to Little Venice for stunning waterfront views or visit the windmills, which is the iconic symbols of the island. Or you can shop for handmade ceramics and Greek sandals or whatever you wish. Grab your souvenirs in Mykonos. But there's plenty to do. And if a day of leisure isn't your speed, that is perfectly fine. You can join our optional excursion, Flavors of Mykonos. So this is where you'll visit the quiet village of Anomera, and then you will stop at a local farm where you'll meet the makers and the taste or get to taste fresh cheeses or local wine and olive oil. So it's an amazing way to see, you could say, the quieter side of the island as well. So this is a very popular excursion for travelers. A lot of our travelers take advantage of this optional excursion. So I do recommend pre-booking this, making sure you don't wait till you're on tour, but booking it to ensure you do get your space. And we can talk about that at the end, how you can book these optional excursions as well. And also Tanya can help you out with that too. Now, moving on to day 6, we begin the day little leisure in paradise, if you will. But in the morning, you can sleep in again, hit the beach, or just explore the island at your own free will. Or if you wish, you can join our optional excursion to Delos, one of the most sacred sites in all of Greece. So it's the mythological birthplace of Apollo and Artemis, and one of the best preserved archaeological sites in the country. And so, on this guided tour, we'll learn about the birthplace of Apollo. We'll stroll through ruins of ancient temples, marketplaces, homes, and really feel the mythological energy that still lingers here today. So that's an option in the morning if you wish to take on. And then in the afternoon, the choice is yours. So both options are fantastic. There's no really wrong decision, but option 1 gives you the option to visit one of Mykonos's pristine beaches, and where this is where you can swim, this is sunbathe, or just enjoy a drink at a beachside bar if you wish. The second option is to visit is a visit to Lena's house. It's a 19th century folk museum, and it gives you a glimpse into the traditional Mykonoan life there on the island. So the option's yours on day 6 in the afternoon. You can choose whichever you prefer. Now, today on day 7, this is where we will board another high-speed ferry and set our course for Santorini. And this is the postcard perfect island, and it's known for its dramatic cliffs and the blue domes. So the ferry ride is very smooth and very scenic, if you will. So you're going to see beautiful sights on your way over to this island. But do remember, with the ferry, you'll need to carry your own luggage again, just like before. So I just want to make sure that expectation is set. About 200 feet that you'll have to carry that. But once we arrive, we'll drive through volcanic landscapes and vineyards on our way to the famous cliffside village of Iya. And this is really the Santorini you've seen in photos. And now, when we go here today, this is where you'll get to experience it for yourself in real life, more than just a postcard, if you will. So it's hard to put Iya into words. It's just one of those places that it has to be felt. It has to be experienced. And so we'll wander the cliffside lanes. We'll pass the pastel homes and cozy cafes. and we'll just take in all of the legendary views. It's very popular, and it's popular for a reason. The atmosphere, the light, the scenery, it is very much unforgettable. So we'll get to experience that. Now, little fun fact here, the entire island of Santorini is a volcanic rock. And so it's actually um it's the only the caldera of Santorini is the only inhabited caldera in the whole world. So little fun fact there, and we'll learn about that on tour as well. But there we'll spend 3 nights at El Greco Resort and Spa, and it's ideally located just outside the center of Fira. So this hotel blends simple elegance with beauty and really just surrounding you with beautiful surroundings and landscapes for a memorable stay as well. So you can enjoy an adults only spa. There are actually 5 outdoor pools and 1 indoor pool, and it's perfect for relaxing after exploring the island and all of that as well. Now, in day 8, we do visit ancient ancient Akrotiri and Akrotiri, and that's one of the most important prehistoric settlements in Eastern Mediterranean. And so it's a strong Minoan influences, and it's often nicknamed the Minoan Pompeii. And so it's was buried and preserved by a volcanic eruption around 1450 BC. And so you can imagine the history. And as we walk along the elevated walkways through the excavation site, it just hints at a remarkable advanced society. So we'll get to learn all the history about that during our visit there. And then afterwards, we'll also visit a local winery. And this is where we get to discover why Santorini's wines are so distinctive. And a little secret, it lies in the volcanic soil and the basket trained vines. And this is where we will learn all about that while enjoying a wine tasting paired with a light lunch. A light lunch there. And then, as we see the afternoon of day 8, we'll have some free time during this time. And this is, whether you're feeling adventurous or you want to rest, this island always delivers. So, strolling through Thera with boutique shops and bakeries, or visiting the Archaeological Museum of Thera, or stepping foot on a black sand beach. There are plenty of options to take advantage of. But whether you choose to sail, shop, relax, or roam, day 9 is going to be your last full day on the island. So you can use this time however it feels right. You can capture that final photo, you can savor that last seafood lunch if you wish, or you can revisit a favorite cafe or a favorite lookout point that you picked up during our time there. And if you'd like a guided tour experience on your last day, you can also consider joining our full day island hopping and sunset dinner cruise. So this is an optional excursion that you'll spend the afternoon sailing around Santorini's smaller islets, exploring hidden coves and volcanic rock formations. Then you can also enjoy dinner as the sun just melts into the sea. It's one of the most iconic sunsets in the world. But it's a magical way to close out your time in the area with a blend of adventure with relaxation and celebration of such a great time on the islands. But in the morning of day 10, this is where we will fly back to Athens for one final night in Greece. And as I mentioned before, this flight is about 45 minutes to an hour long flight. And once we are back into the capital, we gather for a farewell dinner. And it's in a traditional taverna in the historic Plaka district. And this is complete with live music and local entertainment. I think the next slide kind of gives you a little glimpse of that. Yeah. But it's a celebration of everything you've seen, everything you've tasted, and it's felt along the way. Get a little dance at your dinner there in Athens. Now, day 11, this is where we do say goodbye to Greece. We'll leave with new friendships, memories, and maybe even a few bottles of olive oil or wine that you put into your suitcase. And that actually reminds me, remember to always leave room. When you're traveling, always leave room in your suitcase for souvenirs because you're gonna gather some souvenirs, whether that be wine or olive oil or Greek sandals or whatever that may be. Always leave room in your suitcase. Now, at this point, if you're not ready to end your adventure, you may consider joining our optional 3-night post-tour extension in Istanbul. And so it is a city that bridges two continents, blending east and west, ancient and modern, all together. So we'll fly from Athens and enjoy a welcome dinner featuring a local Turkish cuisine, and we'll also visit the Blue Mosque, the Topkapi Palace, and the iconic Hagia Sophia with a local guide. So, exploring the bustling Grand Bazaar and the spice market, we'll cruise the Bosphorus Strait and also sail between Europe and Asia. And so, it is so much to do. And if you wish to extend your travels, we can certainly make that happen for you with this 4-day itinerary at the end of our trip. So I've had a lot to say about this itinerary. I do have about a 30-second clip that kind of puts these visuals or what my explanations into a visual light. So there are no words here, no verbiage, but it's about 30 seconds of sightseeing of what Greece has to offer. They say pictures say 1,000 words. I know sometimes I can say a lot more than that, but let's see what this video has to say. Very nice. So between the culture, between the sightseeing and the history, there is just an amazing immersion into Greece. Now, here is where I do want to transition into the logistics of this tour. So this experience really begins and ends in one place. So we will have a hometown pickup that is included. And so we will come and we will pick you up. We will take you to the airport. And then when the trip concludes, we will pick you up and bring you right back at that pickup drop off area. Now, I do want to say, I know we have travelers that are a bit scattered. This tour, specifically in the pickup, is currently set up for Orlando. And so we will have one group pickup per air gateway. So I think we have some people in Atlanta or in the metro Atlanta area. We will do one pickup per air gateway. Now, that being said, another super important thing is the post-tour survey. So we are constantly evolving to make the tours better for your next trip, but also for those who are joining these tours for the very first time. So we can only make these trips better, if you will. We can only make them better with your feedback. And so be sure to fill out the survey at the end of your trip so we can make either your next trip much better or those who are joining us for the first time that they can get that Colette's premium experience as we are constantly evolving to strive for excellence. Now, if you have traveled with Collette before, or you're traveling for the first time, when you travel with Collette, you are automatically enrolled into our Passport Club's rewards program. And so by traveling with Collette, you will earn 5% of the land cost of this trip to use on your next trip when you travel within 24 months. And so 5%, pretty good chunk of change. So it does go down in your third year, but this allows you 36 months to travel with us and still earn your credit. So if you travel with Collette in the past and it's been within 24 months of when we're traveling here again, you can make sure, I guess not make sure because it's automatically applied, no action required, but you will get a discount on this tour. And if you haven't traveled with Collette, this is something when you get back, you're excited about Collette. Keep that in mind because if you travel within 24 months, you save 5%, and that's a pretty hefty chunk that you can save as well. Now, I do understand these are guided experiences, and there is a lot that is included for you. However, there are still ways to make it your own as well. So I mentioned the optional excursions like Flavors of Mykonos or Ancient Delos or the Santorini island hopping cruise as well. We can add these on for you. And, we can also easily add on post nights or pre nights as well. We've had many travelers say, now that I feel comfortable, a little more comfortable after being with a guide for a few days and having a tour guide, we'd like to spend some independent time after the trip. So this is easily done. We can add nights to stay longer for you if you want to do that as well. We also can upgrade your flights. So the flights that I'm about to get into with the flights, those are economy. That is the standard. But if you want to go to business class, first class, or premium economy, skip that one, you can upgrade accordingly as well. So the last thing I do want to mention here is we do not leave you behind. So if you do a free pre-stay or a post-stay, or you do change your timing of travel, we will still take care of the hometown pickup. We will still take you to the airport, make sure your flights are accordingly planned accordingly, and then we will pick you back up to bring you back home. So you don't have to worry or stress out about the logistics or getting left behind. Now, one thing you do want to think about and budget for is your travel insurance. And so things happen in our lives that can be unforeseen, and you want to make sure you are covered. So we know these trips are not inexpensive. So we want to protect these investments as much as possible. So what our insurance allows you to do is cancel for any reason at all until 24 hours prior to departure. And you get a full cash refund. No questions asked, any reason, we give you that refund. The only thing you forfeit if you wait that long to cancel, the only thing you forfeit is the cost of insurance. And that same policy also covers you while on tour. So medical, trip interruption, baggage loss, all of those things as well. Now, I do want to ensure everybody has their passports. This is international travel, so we want to make sure our passports are valid for up to 6 to 8 months beyond the travel date to Greece. Now, Tanya can help you out. I'm about to show you a web page that can also answer any travel tips and questions as well. But we want to make sure we're all up to date with our passports and all of that. Now, here is the full layout. Now we are looking at $67.99 per person, and that's based on double accommodation, meaning you are sharing a room. You are looking at $67.99. However, right now, if we book right now, you save $100 per person. And so that changes the price down to $66.99 per person. And again, that is double accommodation, so meaning you are sharing a room. Now, if you are a solo traveler, that price with that discount of $100 is $79.99. Now, what's included in that cost? That is the full tour. That's the flights currently listed out of Orlando. For those in Atlanta or elsewhere, we can get those updated price for you. However, it's not going to change very much, maybe up or down $50, $100 is what I would guess. That's not a guarantee, so don't quote me on that, but that would be a guess. But as a solo traveler, or excuse me, as what is included in the pricing, you are looking at the full tour, the flights, your hometown pickup, the transportation, the accommodations, your tour manager, everything that is in the itinerary, even your inner flights, flying from Santorini up to Athens, and that inner flight and the ferry and everything that is included. Now, the deposit is also $698 per person, and in terms of signing up and reserving your spot, that deposit is due by November 22nd of this year. So just a couple months away, November 22nd of 2026. Now, if you do want to take advantage of the insurance, which is $599 per person, that would be due at the time of deposit. at the time of deposit. And that is how you can reserve your spot. Now, I do want to share that we have a limited amount of seats reserved for this date as a group. So I highly recommend that if you have interest in reserving your spot, do it now, save your $100. And I say this because if you sign up today and say you wake up tomorrow with this little thing that we call buyer's remorse, you can cancel and you get 100% fully refunded, including the cost of insurance if you cancel by the deposit due date of November 22nd. If you cancel after the deposit due date with the purchase of insurance, you would forfeit the cost of insurance, but you get everything back. So I say that there's no risk right now up until November of 2020 November 22nd of 2026 if you want to reserve your spot, because we do have limited amount of seats that Tanya and Roseborough Travel are promoting. The other thing I do want to mention, if you are traveling as a solo traveler, as a single, we do offer a limited amount of seats, a slim number of single seats specifically. So don't wait to reserve your spot because they get taken up very quickly. That also goes for any upgrades, these pre-sold options. If you're looking to upgrade your flights from economy to premium economy or even to business class, those also fill up quickly too. So if you know I'm not going to fly across the pond without upgrading, you want to sign up right away and secure your seat in the business class or into premium economy, whichever you prefer. Now, after today, how you can go about learning more, getting signed up, getting questions answered, there are a few places you can go. First, on the screen, I have a QR code, also a web link there, and that is a website. And this is a landing page specific to this tour. And you can go here, you can find more information about the optional extensions I've mentioned, the excursions, everything you need to know day by day on the itinerary as well. I tried to break it down the best I could today, but maybe I left some gaps and you have some questions, and that's a great place for you to go see and read it in front of you, and you can fill those gaps on this website. Now, I know Tanya also has a digital flyer, maybe also a printed flyer if you're in the DeLand area, or maybe she sent some your way wherever you're located. Those are great ways to learn more about the information as well. Now, what I do love about this website specifically is there are travel tips. So if you are, curious about, I don't know what I need for an adapter to charge my phone, or maybe the currency, or maybe what's Wi-Fi going to be like on tour, or what is it like to book flights with Collette. All of those answers are on the travel tips tab on this website as well. Now, this website, for those comfortable to use, it is the easiest and best way to sign up. For those of you who cannot or maybe prefer not to sign up online, that is perfectly and totally okay. And you can contact Tanya. Tanya is your main point of contact as your travel advisor, and she will be your contact from now until the time of the trip. So if you have any assistance, every step of the way, she is there right by your side. So that being said, I am going to go ahead and open it up for Q&A. I thank you for the time and allowing me to, share the good news of Greece and Collette and what we have to offer on Greece Island Hopper. And yeah, any comments, any questions, anything I can answer.
I see that we have a question in the chat. That's just Jesse, sorry.
Okay.
Just Jesse.
She dropped the link to the yes, thank you for that, Jesse. So that link to the webpage is there in the chat. So if anybody would like to see that and just click it and go directly to that link, that is in the chat.
I do also want to mention that when you were talking about the inclusions, I think everybody knows that some of their meals were included, but it actually is 14 meals. You'll have
Mhm.
breakfast daily, one lunch, and four dinners are also included.
Yes. Thank you for covering that.
No worries.
Yes. And that is also a part of, we don't want to offer all the dinners and all the lunches and all of
Right.
that because as we have free time, there are going to be cafes that you come across and you get to explore on your own. And so we try to give that balance of travel for you.
That is one thing I really like about this tour is all of the free time that you get to explore because some tours that you go on, you're going all the time and you feel like you've seen a lot, but you didn't really get to experience the culture and, move about freely like you want to and shop, of
Right.
course.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Okay,
Well,
you
if
mentioned,
it
may I ask a question? Yeah, you mentioned one thing when we get to the island of Mykonos too. I think it was Koros, the city there, or something like that, I believe. You said we could
yeah.
explore beach front cafes and this, that, and the other, and then later on in the day we'd check into the hotel. During that day, while we're exploring and so on, are we going to be handling our own baggage then?
No, sir. That's a great question. Thank you for bringing that up. So that is something that, the coach that's taking us into there or in that area, we will be able to, excuse me, I have my cities mixed up. That would not be the coach. At that point, we would be able to drop off our luggage at the hotel. So there would be storage, if you will, or at the bellhop that they would be able to handle those for us while we are waiting for our rooms to be ready if they are not at that point. It just depends on that day.
Okay, another
So
question. Another.
technically, the only times we're handling our luggage are on and off the ferry. Is that
Okay.
right?
Correct. That is
Okay.
the only time. And just to kind of set that straight, with Collette, when we move from hotel to hotel, we handle the baggage handling is taken care of by Collette. The only time that I have ever seen this in the tours that I present on day to day, is this tour where we have to use that public transportation, if you will. We cannot handle that luggage for you. You have to do that. So it's about 200 feet. But yeah, that's like the only time I've ever seen that happen.
Okay, another question I have is that if we wanted to go to the Acropolis, are there tickets involved with that? And should we secure those ahead of time, or is that handled through you, or how do we do that?
That is included. And so that
Okay,
is a part of your tour guide. When our tour manager takes us there, that is, included in the itinerary. So no need. That's a part of, skipping the line, skipping the tickets, everything like that. That is just a part of the tour that we have included for you.
okay, and I know in most places in Europe, a lot of times tipping is just sort of rounding up the dollar or whatever, rounding up the bill a little bit. But what is expected of us on this tour?
That's a great question. And actually, as of January of 2027, Collette is going to be including the gratuities into our tour. And so that is one thing that you will not have to worry about. Now, as far as during your free time, when you're doing your own thing, maybe going to a restaurant or things like that, I actually, off the top of my head, I don't know what the standard gratuity would be. But what you can look at is that website, and I can actually try to pull that up to get you an answer of the travel tips, because that says gratuity guidelines. Give me 1 second here. I'm pulling it up. Getting ready to travel, gratuity recommendations.
Those excursions too, those options.
And it's provided in euros because that is, it just that's where we are. But it actually breaks it down. It's actually the old format because we are, as of very recently, transitioning from where you would have to provide your own gratuities to the local guide and on-tour motor coach and everything like that, the driver, if you will. That is no longer going to be the case. And so I don't see any recommendations of what the gratuity would be outside of those guidelines because that's going to be taken care of by Collette in the price. Um, and so that said, I guess I would leave that to your discretion as you're, uh, at your own leisure. That would be up to you.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, could you also explain the hometown pickup? I live in Daytona Beach. Is there going to be a pickup in Daytona Beach, or what do you? I mean, how do you? I'd like an explanation of that hometown pickup.
What we
Absolutely.
usually do, I can answer that. What we usually
Okay.
do, David, is we have everyone meet at our office and then we all just go as a group together. The bus is here and takes us all at once.
Okay, okay,
You
so we
can
can
just
leave
drive to DeLand, basically.
our vehicles there at your office?
We
Oh,
can't leave them in our parking lot, but we have a parking garage right down the street where the courthouse is that
uh,
is pretty safe and secure. And I've left my own car there before. And it's free of charge also.
okay,
Yeah.
okay,
Or you can
uh,
get somebody to drop you off.
okay.
Yeah.
Like me, I
Now,
could drop you off. I don't live too far from you.
No, that's true. You don't.
now I just saw a chat come in. The cost of the extension. The
Yes.
extension for the 3 night is 16.99 per person, and that's 4 days, 3 nights. One dinner is included, and three breakfasts are included, and all the transportation. That's all included. 16.99.
Um, Oh, I know what I was going to ask. You mentioned, I think, three or so different excursions to do if you choose so. How do we do those? I know you said we can sign up before. Is there an additional cost for them?
Yeah, so it depends on which one you're looking at. So
Okay.
Flavors of Mykonos, that is going to be $139.
Okay.
$139. Um, the Ancient Delos, the Apollo Sacred Island, that's going to be $159 per person.
Okay.
And then what was the last one? Island Hopping and Sunset Cruise, that's going to be $189
That's the
per
one I
person.
was interested in.
Yes. Yes. And so let me see here. Yep, that I think that was the last excursion. Yep. And so when you're signing up, whether if you're signing up on the web page, that link is in the chat, you can, when you get to the point of signing up where it says sign up today on the top right, and let me see. Do you see my screen? Everybody see my screen
Uh-huh.
Yes.
where it
Yep.
says the website? Okay. So for those that would like this, you can come right here, and if you click up sign up today, it'll open up another browser, and this is all safe, secure. It's just giving you real ID. It's just kind of an automated, even though this isn't US travel. But when you sign up, this is still through Roseborough Travel, and you can pick if you're a single traveler or a double traveler, and then it'll drop down so you can enter your information right here. You can put your passport information, any mobility request, dietary restrictions, medication, anything like that. Now, I'm not going to go through all of that for time's sake here, but when you finish that personal information, then it will take you to air and travel protection. So that's where you book your flights. And then the next step would be tour customization. And that is where you would choose to pick the optional extensions. And so the optional excursions, extensions, everything like that in that regard. Now I'm going to go back to the browser for the main website. And if you look here under itinerary, and I scroll down to May 25th, that is the day that we have an optional available of
Okay.
Flavors of Mykonos. And so this is where you can click that to learn more options and see what that includes and the price. And then the next day is that's where we do, and so on. That's where you can learn that information. Um, I'm scrolling back up next to the day today, there's the tour extensions. So I clicked on that tab. And so if you want a pre-night, it is $300 per room. So for a solo, it would be $300. For a double, it would be $150 per person. And then for the post-tour extension, that's where I found that information was $16.99 per person. Now, as of right now, I saw the follow-up question for solo supplement for extension. As of right now, I have that as 16.99. So just it's a per person rate. It's not broken up into double or single supplement. Um,
I have a different figure.
You
I
do.
have for the double rate is 16.99, and for the single it's 19.99 on the flyer.
Aha. Well, thank you for calling that out.
You're welcome.
So, thank you so much. So that is 19.99 for the solo. Is that what I heard?
Yes,
19.99? Okay. 19.99 for the solo extension. Thank you, Tanya.
you're welcome.
So I got long-winded sharing that, but if you have any questions about navigating this, you can get with Tanya and she can help. I can help her out as well. But yeah, that's a great way to find a lot of information as well. Any other questions? All good questions so far. It's not a bad
Very
question.
good.
And if any questions pop up after we close this meeting or you're laying in bed at night, write it down at that point, please. But we can contact Tanya. She can get any additional questions answered for you. Tanya, you know I'm here to support you along the way as well if you have any questions come up after today. But I
Yes.
thank you. Thank you, everybody, for your time. Thank you for joining. I look forward to seeing you in Athens and Mykonos and Santorini. I think this is going to be an amazing group together. So thank you, Tanya, for the time to present this to your crew. And yeah, if you have any questions, Tanya is
Thank
your point
you.
of contact the whole way. Thank
And
you.
I'll go ahead and give you my office phone number. It's 386-734-7245. And my email address is Tanya, Tonya, at Roseborough, Roseborough, travel.com. A lot of people call it Rosenborough, things like that. So just want to make sure.
Yep. And I
Yep,
just
you
dropped that
just
in
put
the
it
chat
down
as
there.
well.
Great. Thank you.
Yes.
Well, if we don't
Yes.
have any more questions, I don't think we do. I just want to say thank you so much for taking this time out of your day to be with us. And I would love to have you go with me. Greece is on my bucket list, and therefore I'm developing a group trip around it. And I just tell you, groups are great. They're fantastic. You meet some friends that you stay friends with a long time, and it's just nice. You don't have to think about
Mhm.
anything. So if you're ready to make a move and sign up for the trip, just call me or email me, and I'll be happy to help you. So good to see some of y'all that I've known for so long too.
Okay.
Everybody
Right.
have a wonderful afternoon.
Well, thank you, Tanya.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.